What is the latest in regards to Casemiro's United exit? He's not getting any minutes at Manchester United, and new offers have come in from the MLS. Could he go to the MLS? Could he go to Saudi, or is he set to stay? What is the latest on Dorgu? Fabrizio Romano has confirmed United making a second bid for Dorgu. The deal is expected to happen. Romano also gives us an update on Antony, why he's still here, why he's still in the squad, why he's still in training. It links to United bringing in a replacement. Is Dorgu the replacement for Antony, or does that mean actually an attacking replacement? Who is the mystery attacking player United are looking at? Who is the perfect Garnacho replacement? We're going to talk about the players that United are looking at to replace Garnacho, who the perfect option is. Let's actually talk about the latest Garnacho news. Are Napoli moving for Adeyemi? Could he go to Chelsea? What is the latest on Garnacho's exit? What is the price? What is my thoughts? But also, I want to talk about Ruben Amorim. He has to now apologise for his comments made in the press conference because the media make a big deal out of it. And obviously, we know with Rangnick, you can't be too critical about the players to the press because they'll turn on you. Is Ruben Amorim going to be affected by the culture at Manchester United, or is he going to do a Fergie and insert his own culture? Yesterday's live stream, we spoke about Ruben Amorim, how he was flipping the chairs and tables and apparently smashing a TV in his rage at United players, which reminds me of the stories about Fergie chucking a boot, it hit him Beckham. Is Ruben Amorim going to be able to maybe implement that new culture at United? But let's start with the Casemiro news coming out here, which is this. Casemiro is receiving proposals from the MLS, and that Manchester United is struggling to find a buyer for Casemiro and may be forced to lower the expectations of a 30 million fee. To be honest, and I know this might make me sound like a hypocrite because I've been saying, 60 million is the bare minimum for Garnacho, and we must not lower the fee for Garnacho. But that's because Garnacho is young. He's, when you look at Dibbling, they want 55 million for Dibbling. When you look at, Villa rejecting 60 million for John Duran, and this is Dibbling and John Duran's breakout season. That's why I want 60 million for Garnacho, because he's young, he's on low wages, he's a sellable asset, and he's got a lot of potential. With Casemiro, I know we spent 70 million on him, but you've got to think of the 20 million a year that's saved in wages. I think United have to look at lowering that Casemiro fee to 20 odd million. And people might call me crazy. So you want to lower the Casemiro fees, but you won't lower the Garnacho fees. And that's because Casemiro is old and he's not being used. Garnacho is young. While he isn't being used a lot by Amorim, he's young and he's worth that money. Whereas I think with Casemiro, because of the wages, we may have to lower the fee to below 30 million. I mean, 20 million feels a bit low. I think 25 million would be a very, very fair price. But I think, Ruben Amorim clearly isn't going to play Casemiro. He's not coming on at all. I think it is one that United need to maybe negotiate a lower fee on, especially with Collier starting to get minutes now. I think that is almost Casemiro's replacement. Although I get why United would hold out the 30 million for Casemiro, because I think we want Ederson to replace him and we won't be able to get him until summer. But I think because of his wages, we may have to lower the fee. It was said by Facheas, and I'm going to tell you this now. Facheas normally chats probably the most shite, if I'm going to be totally honest, out of all the top, I say top sources, out of all the sources that get, picked up by the aggregator accounts regularly. Facheas is one that's get picked up by aggregator accounts regularly, but they normally chat a lot of shite. But they are saying Ruben Amorim has had enough of Casemiro's poor performances and wants to see Man United sell the midfielder this month. I mean, he's not really played much under Ruben Amorim, but he's been poor for a while, Casemiro, and you can understand if Ruben Amorim wants to sell him. So there's probably some truth in that story. But what is the latest on Antony? Understand Antony could be part of Manchester United squad again today while the club's preparing check documents for his transfer to Real Betis. Verbal agreement on loan remains done and not in danger. United welcome replacement. New bid for Dorgu from Man United soon. I think Man United will not. I think everything's done for Antony, but until we make sure we've got someone coming in, we're not going to give them the green light. Do you know what I mean? I think the minute we get the Dorgu deal done, which I think is expected to be done today, for Fabrizio Romano's dropping some hints, I think Antony will go. I think it's very much a case of get one deal done, Antony goes. You know how like the Mazraoui, Delict and Wan-Bissaka deals were all linked? I think it's a little bit like the Wan-Bissaka situation last year of he can't go until this is sorted, or we can't sign this player till that is sorted, vice versa. It was said that Manchester United are preparing a new proposal to Lecce for Patrick Dorgu, according to Fabrizio Romano. Not expected to reach €40 million price tag yet, but United will try and advance after 27 million opening proposal turned down. For me, I think you have 30 million. I think 30 million euros, put 3 million euros in add-ons. And that's probably the highest I'd go for Dorgu. I like Dorgu. He was a player that I spoke about before. We were linked to him from what I've seen of him. And I'm not going to act like I've seen a lot of him, but I remember watching him last season, his breakout season, and being really impressed. And I've kept an eye on him this season. I've only probably watched 3-4 full games of him, and then recently just done some more analysis. But he was a player that when I did watch him, I saw enough to say I like him, but I still saw enough of him to say he's still very raw. We're talking about Garnacho, we're talking about Main, we're talking about Yoro. They're still really raw. They're not ready-made, and you've got that with Dorgu, which is why Kirkes was always my first choice, and why I wouldn't want to pay much more than, £30 million for Dorgu, which is probably about 33 million euros. I think with Alvaro being there, we should be careful. So what is the latest on Dorgu, and what is the latest on the left-back situation? Manchester United prepared to improve first bid, which was 23 million for Dorgu. I think they could go up to 27, 28 million. To be honest, I think 28 million is the most I'd want to pay. Lecce want 33 million, but I think we'll probably negotiate around 30 million. We do have other options. We will inquire about wingers if Garnacho departs, and we have looked at Kirkes, but not a cheap deal. I think Kirkes will be available in summer. A lot of it depends on the fee. Liverpool need a left back. Tottenham need a left back. Arguably, Chelsea probably need another left back to back up Cucurella, but probably doesn't need to be a first team player. But Liverpool, Man United, and Tottenham probably in big need of a left back. I know Udogi's quite a good player, but just injuries and all of that, and where Tottenham have been at. So there's going to be competition for Kirkes for sure in the summer. But Kirkes would be my ideal choice. But with Dorgu and Amorim playing left-sided right wing-backs, Dorgu could be a right wing-back at times, and Kirkes could be a left wing-back. And I still think we can get Kirkes in the summer. But we have other options at left-back, which is Alvaro, which has been revealed. Apparently, Tyreek Mitchell was another player we're looking at, which I think he's quite an underrated player, but no, he's not a wing-back. He's a defensive fullback. Do you know what I mean? But we're looking at wingers if Garnacho departs. We will talk about Garnacho in a second, but I want to get into this. Manchester United and Lecce are 10 million euros apart in negotiations over Patrick Dorgu. Talks are going to continue to bridge the gap, was said by the very credible Laurie Whitwell yesterday. So what else has been said? United will have more talks with Lecce for Dorgu as of today. We know that's true. We know that United are expected to put in another bid. La-di-da. United want a base fee of £50 million at least for Garnacho, which is very fair. So be honest, with the way the January market is, for me, 60 million base fee and 10 million add-ons, 70 million is what I would do for Garnacho. But as long as we get 60 million and Ruben Amorim thinks that selling Garnacho is the best option because maybe we can get Cunha. I'd sell Garnacho if we get 60 million and we're going to replace him with Cunha. I would. And if that's what Ruben Amorim wants. But I'm not going to sell Garnacho on the cheap because I think we're overreacting after a couple months of bad form. Talks will continue. United want to ramp up ruthlessness in building the team. We will touch upon Garnacho in a second, but I want to talk about Ruben Amorim. So Ruben Amorim said in a press conference, and everyone who sort of watched the press conference and knew the context knew he wasn't being 100% serious, but he basically was like, worst United team ever, worst bunch of United players ever. And obviously the media spin it into clickbait stories and all of that. And then is Ruben Amorim losing the dressing room? When Ralph Rangnick did this, he lost the dressing room, but Ralph Rangnick was interim, so I think the players knew that they didn't have to respect him, which is sad. Whereas Amorim is permanent. So let's talk about this. So Ruben Amorim spoke about this comment. He said, "I don't read what is written because I couldn't do my job otherwise. I know what I said, the worst team in history. I tried to explain myself in the conference. I was talking about myself because we played 10 games with me in the Premier League and there were 7 defeats. I think if you look for another Manchester United team with such a record, especially at home, so I was talking about myself. I was trying to show that I'm aware of the situation." So when he was saying worst Man United team history, he was speaking about himself, that he's there to blame. But to be honest, Ruben Amorim is not actually at fault in my opinion. He gets things wrong, but you can expect that. And the system's really different, and a different system would probably do better right now. But we've got to think of short-term pain for long-term gain, and that's what Amorim's doing. It's not Amorim's fault that we've recruited badly. It's not Amorim's fault that these players don't step up and not good enough. He'll take accountability, and I like that. But he's now having to explain that when he said that, he was talking about himself. Is that because, maybe he's got some funny comments or looks from the players and doesn't want to lose the dressing room? I think that's a possibility. I think he has to say that, 1, for the press, and 2, to remain control of the dressing room, because those players, if he starts giving those players stick in public, they might turn on him. I think elements of that he has to say, but I think Ruben Amorim will say, "Oh, I was talking about myself." But I think Ruben Amorim did mean the players. I do. Amorim said on whether he regrets what he said. He said, "The way, yes, because I have responsibility. I have to think about what I say. I do, but it was difficult at the time. Sometimes it's difficult sometimes to hide your frustration. It's difficult to lose." So Ruben Amorim is now apologising, saying, yes, he regrets what he said. I can imagine what he said didn't go down well in the United dressing room. And I think that's why he's coming out and saying these comments, to be honest. I don't think what he said went down well in the dressing room. And I think he lost his mind at the players. I don't know if he lost his mind after the interview or before the interview, but I don't think there was a good mood in the dressing room after that Brighton game. In fact, we know there wasn't a good mood in that dressing room. Amorim then said, I'm here to protect my players, and sometimes to do that, you have to say things. I could have said things differently, but I'm the coach of Manchester United. I'm responsible for the team that has lost at home again, and sometimes it's difficult to deal with that. So Amorim is taking responsibility off the players and onto himself, which I guess you have to do as a manager to maintain order in the dressing room. But honestly, the responsibility is on the players, not the manager for me. So, talking to players, what do we know about Alejandro Garnacho and his potential exit out of Manchester United? It was said that Manchester United will sell Alejandro Garnacho to Napoli if the Italian side meet their 70 million asking price. Napoli have offered 50 million plus add-ons, according to the Mirror. Now, I don't really believe the Mirror, but if they offer a base fee of 50 million that reaches 60 million on the add-ons, I think United potentially accept that. Tumazzi was saying that United have lowered their valuation to 65 million, but Napoli remain at 50 to 55 million. Obviously, we need a minimum of 65 million if that is euros. We need 60 million pounds, in my opinion. Both parties will meet again in the next few days to try and reach an agreement. There is talk of Napoli going in for Adeyemi, but I actually think that is a negotiation tactic from Napoli to try and scare United into lowering the fee. Napoli know it's Man United, and you can mug them off to get a low fee for their players. That's what Napoli are doing. Anyway, talking about Garnacho replacements, who could be the option to replace Garnacho? Who could be the perfect Garnacho replacement? Well, in my opinion, it's Cunha. But there are 4 teams interested in Mateus Cunha, but I think he suits the left 10 role well. Chelsea are also open to listen to offers of João Felix, and there's talk if Garnacho goes to Chelsea and not Napoli, maybe we can include Felix in a deal to potentially get Garnacho for a lower price. So for them to get Garnacho for a lower price if they include João Felix in the deal. João Felix is a little bit overrated for me, 100%. But I do think he could work better in Amorim's system than the current system he's playing in. Anyway, guys, I hope you did enjoy today's 12-minute roundup. Please do hit the like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I'll be back later with another show. See you next time. Bye.